Thank you, everyone. We're going to talk to you about a discovery, one of the best discoveries globally in the space. We've been running over the last 20 months, and it really has taken us to another level in the last 4 or 5 months. So let's have some fun, move through the less fun bits, which is the disclaimer there, and let's just try and rank a discovery. How do you rank a discovery is always tough. Now, we got 45 kilometres into this system. We put 30 in the last 12 months. And the hit rate here, let's say 100 gram metre hit rate, we've hit 25 of those in 45 kilometres of drilling. I haven't been able to see anything better globally. Please prove me very wrong, but it's a very, very good start. We're still very much working on demonstrating grade. This is a very high-grade system, and you'll see that very early into the discovery. So lots more to come, and this is a big system. Big systems have big footprints, and this is over 10 kilometres, and we've only looked over 1 kilometre so far. How do you discover? You drill lots. You've got to have the cash, you've got to have the permits, and that we do. We bought the freehold land over the discovery early on, just to simplify our access and future ease for the project. The cap structure, a couple of points. Institutional holding has increased dramatically over the last 6 months as we've gone from that traditional IPO to now being supported by some of the larger funds around the world, including here in Australia and overseas. Corporate is 50% here, 51% is Mawson Gold. That we spun the projects out of Mawson. I chaired and co-founded Mawson, and those shares will be distributed to Mawson shareholders when the 2-year escrow ends in May. And we have about 70% commonality of shareholders, mainly those institutional shareholders between Mawson and Southern Cross now. So we put a lot of work into aligning the shareholder base as much as anything. Good projects keep getting better, and this one is no different. Here is essentially our database summarised in one slide. So you can see our best intersections, the top 10, the width, length, and the gold. We also have an antimony component I'll talk to. We say that the antimony will help permit this project. The gold will pay for it. You can see that the extraordinary high grades over good widths, the drill hole lengths there. Importantly, it's getting better. The top 5 there have come in the last 4 or 5 months. So we're understanding the system better, it's getting better at depth, and we've got the good fortune that absolutely the system is developing in only a way we could have dreamed perhaps 6 or 7 months ago. The assay database, if we take the average of the assay database, it's an Excel spreadsheet. This is where we listed the company in May, so time is on that x-axis. The intersection width has remained similar at about 4 metres, but look what's happened to the grade. It's just taken off. It averages get influenced by the very high grade numbers, but that's what we have, and we're averaging over 20 grams just from an Excel spreadsheet. But you can see that trend. The trend is your friend. This is getting better and has not stopped. Victoria, this is really a slide that the Canadians understand very well. I've had 25 years in the Canadian market, and this is the first ASX deal that I've been involved with, many over in Canada. All the money has come into Victoria essentially to re-establish Fosterville, which was the highest grade gold mine on earth for 4 of the last 6 years. It was running at 40 grams head grade, lowest ASIC, and was a top 10 producer. We're in the shadow of the head frame of that project, but also we've been able to learn why that developed to be such a good project. It took them 20 years of mining to find these very high grades. We've been able to do it over the last year because we're standing on their learnings, the shoulders of giants, if you may. Victoria was known as a very good field in the middle of the 1800s. 80 odd million ounces came out, and then of course the industry moved across here post World War I. These have a high CV, a coefficient of variation. They're very nuggety and hard to put together. Whereas these ones have a low coefficient of variation. They form very good reconcilable mines. And when you get into these systems at depth, they form great deposits, and that's influenced our our thesis to drill early to depth. So we're drilling commonly to 1 kilometre, and you want to go through that brittle ductile transition where these grades become very super high grade. And we've seen that in our deposit. That was what made Fosterville the $1.5 billion of free cash flow a year, and there's another mine called Costerfield where they're seeing the same thing. So a similar playbook. It's all about the gold. We've got lots of gold. This is just one piece of core. We'll come back to it, 0.4% gold. It comes from our project, just zipping through with 9 minutes left. Melbourne, our project here, Sunday Creek. Fosterville's up here, and Costerfield that I mentioned. So we're about 60 k's from Melbourne. Sounds very close, but we're actually in some areas that have been original titled areas. We've literally, to the south of our project, you can go 8 kilometres and not hit a house. Very important in Victoria, because you can make yourself life very difficult if you're around hobby, smaller farms. That's not the case in this area. We're about 100 k's from Fosterville and 60 from Costerfield. Let's zoom in. And here's the, oops, sorry, after lunch, no good. Here's Sunday Creek. This is 100% owned. We have 2 other projects. Won't talk about those, but we've made bona fide drill discoveries, very high-grade gold discoveries on those as well. We have the strike extensions of Costerfield. This is Costerfield and Fosterville, just to show you the lay of the land. Let's focus in on the project that really matters, that's delivering all this wonderful gold. This is the area we focused on. This is 2 kilometres here, so it's about 1 kilometre or so we drilled over strike length down to about 1 kilometre. Importantly, these old mines that you can see in stars here extend along a 10-kilometre trend, and that 10-kilometre trend is the extension of this system. It's a big footprint. Big systems have big footprints, and so we've got lots of room to move. About 43 kilometres of the drilling has been taken here, 2 kilometres up here. So we have hit high-grade gold up through here, but very early days into the extensions of the system. The other way to look at this is our freehold land here that I'm just circling, and the soil samples in the little bars, and the key focus of the area with the system extending out through here. There are parallel zones that we're dealing with too. So lots of exploration upside that I can't get any more into the detail with 7 minutes to go. So let's just look into this little area here, and this is the next one, it's the geological slide, just to work out how this system actually works. So if we place we say our mineralisation is very much like a ladder. So the sides of the ladder are here. We're looking down in plan view. This is about 400 metre scale. So in plan view, the sides of the ladder are this structure. That structure extends for 10 kilometres out bush, and there's the parallel zones that I talked about. We've only missed that structure that hosts all the golds in 2 holes out of 100. So it's very targetable. We know when we're going into it, and we know when we're leaving it. And within that host structure that has the rails of the ladder, the rungs exist. And these rungs are the vein sets that host all the gold. We've got 42 of them so far. 3 months ago we had about 30, so we're finding more all the time. This system's getting a lot bigger, and I'll show you how it's expanding. The veins are 2 to 20 metres wide. 2 to 20 metres wide. They're 20 to 100 metres long, and they extend from surface down to 1 kilometre. Any one vein we can map over about 600 metres. Importantly, that CV, when we model these and have enough drilling data to inform us, has a very low CV, about 1.5, which is what resource geologists want to see. It shows consistency of the model and not that nuggety system. So that's not what these very different styles of mineralisation that has reinvigorated the Victorian goldfields over the last 6 or 7 years. Low CV. There's your geostats learning for the day for those who are interested. The piece of core we looked at before here is showing, let's see where that sits. That sits about 500 metres below the surface. You can see the surface is here. And what we're looking at is some of the old mines. They mined this down to 200 metres in the late 1800s. Over the field, there's another mine down to about 100 metres there, I should say. Another mine here. So this over about 1 kilometre, down to 1 kilometre. That's our key focus. The yellow holes are those holes in the lab. So we've always got lots of drill results coming with 4 rigs turning. You'll always see lots of news flow. The black holes are those we've reported, and the yellow dots are the plus 15 gram hits, only showing you the very highest grades here on this slide. If we look down, looking to the north, again up here, this is the rails of the ladder and the rungs of the ladder. as we showed it before. So in this case, the rungs are those grey veins. The important pieces to take away from this are some of the best holes drilled globally. I'll just put over the last year. Here, here, and let's say here. So these are made up of lots of high-grade veins. There's something like 18 in that drill hole. That's 200 metres between those drill holes. This hole averaged 400 metres, or greater than 400 metres, at about 5.5 grams. This one was about 300 metres at closer to 7 grams, but, you know, made up of all those high grades. And then when you get into one of those veins, here's 20 metres at 60 grams there. True width is about 11 or 12 metres on that. So you can see some very impressive grades without a doubt. But what does it all mean? What have we actually got here? So let's just take some of the numbers off that maybe you've read, and let's make some assumptions. Let's take off these veins here underneath this old mine here where we haven't got much information. We stepped off here, so we don't really know much what's 500 metres down here, but we know the system continues. We hit very high grades down there. But let's extend these veins down to the depth here. So what does that look like? That looks like this. And this is our exploration target that we just put out over the last week or so. So it's the first attempt at quantifying what we've got. Too early for a resource, but 43 kilometres of drilling, wireframed, top cut, and treated as best one could. So it's really constrained to the drill area. Let me just put that in blue because that black might be hard to see. And if we put it around there, you can start to see that area there. The mineralisation, you can see we've got some good hits up to 400 or 500 metres away. We've got the old mines that had lots of stopes, 20 stopes here. So we know that the mineralisation exists near surface here, and it should continue down through here. I've already talked about the 500 metre step out down there and where we're going here. So in the blue, we put an exploration target out, and please read all the qualifying language around that, between 1 and 1.6 million ounces at 7.2 to 9.7 grams gold equivalent. That's, you can see, is very close, a very small part of the red area. So we can see a footprint here, and our aim is to find a 3 million ounce target here. We know that it continues out this way for 9 of the 10 kilometres that haven't been drilled, and we know these systems can continue for up to 2 kilometres by the mines around us. So this is going to be a very high-grade system and going to get a lot bigger. Let's just talk about a few other aspects. The antimony piece, I talked about that as going to permit the project. It is genuinely, this project is going to be one of the larger antimony mines in the Western world. We have lost control, like we have many critical metals. It's on all the key lists, and we're talking to some of the key partners, the Japanese and the US, around this project being a very part of re-establishing that supply chain. Metallurgically, it's pretty simple. It is free gold, so plus 80% is native gold. So that's what we want to see. We get 20 to 40% into gravity, and with flotation, 93 to 98% recovery of the gold. We produce an antimony con that has very good payability. There's smelters worldwide that treats that. The only secret is to keep under 3% arsenic, which we can, and that keeps your penalties down. Sometimes we had to produce a separate con that was a sulphide gold con, great gold grade, but importantly also free gold. So we're doing lots of the key points behind the scenes, very well trained. We're building resilient communities through the local people, municipalities, and the native title holders. So with Chrissy coming over my right shoulder, I'd like to thank you all. Please join us on this journey. Very early days. We've got Boyd and Nick handing out paperwork, and we're just very excited what we found and look forward to the next year. Thank you. So we drilled over strike length down to about 1 kilometre. Importantly, these old mines that you can see in stars here extend along. That's a really good question. I mean, whether it's Canadian.
market shifted. Improving the latest signature. It's interesting. Just so you have a full model. Less investment.